The next thing we're going to do is I'd like to introduce Mr. Gino Baroni from Trident. He is our owner's project manager. And also with us tonight is Craig Jones from Dennis Myers Architects. And also we have Representative Barrett
Salta.
Salta, thank you, sorry. From our construction management firm, Bonnet, Page and Stone. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Baroni.
Thank you, Chair Yasanka. Thank you for the rest of the board members for having us here this evening. Just to remind you that this is the Central School project. The school board decided to have a new process to undertake a possible renovation expansion to meet the needs going forward in the next 20 to 25 years at least. So we undertook a new process where the board engaged Trident as an owner's project manager, and we were able and are able to assist the board in making decisions, advising them. We don't make the decisions, we advise you, and you make the choices. So in that process, we undertook a construction manager at risk delivery process. And I make a very brief discussion of the difference. The traditional way of doing construction, which is becoming less traditional, is you design it, you bid it, and you build it. So you spend all the money in design, hopefully the bid comes into your budget, and then you build it. Many towns have been finding out that doesn't work, so they're going to a CM at risk process, which now you bring the team in early. The entire team comes on. The OPM is again overseeing the process. We went out, took proposals, RFQs for the design, architectural engineer process. Dennis Myers, the architect, was chosen. Dennis Myers is not here this evening, but Craig's actually the one who does all the work, so we're glad to see he's here. And we also did the same thing. We wanted to bring the CM builder on early to work as a team, so as the architect and engineers are designing, we're checking pricing, we're checking schedule. We went out to a process. We went through a selection, reconciliation process, and Bonnet, Page and Stone was selected and brought onto this team. So that is the CM builder process we've undertaken. We've been working on this for several months now, and Craig is going to show you shortly what we have come upon and decide upon as the best that we can offer in a cost-effective manner to provide what we believe are the needs of the district, both in program, security, and actually having some community space so community involvement can be at the Central School. We have a real great group of experienced professionals here. We've done many projects, too many to list, so I think you should have comfort that this team and its individual members have done a lot of projects in this process. We went through about 4 schemes, maybe 5, it could be 4A, that was presented to the committee that's looking at this, and we went through them, and the committee decided to expel, I will say, 2 of the schemes because they were just too big, too grandiose, and they weren't really going to fit in what we needed here. But as I told the team, we have to allow the team to be unfettered and to allow them to free think and to dream. And I tell the people, they laugh at me, I said, eventually I'll wake you up. And we woke everybody up at once here. So we went from 4 down to 2, and then from 2 down to a selected layout, which Craig is going to show now how we got there and what it's doing, what are the deficiencies they are addressing. And I really feel strongly that this is a very, very cost-effective 25-year plus resolution to your needs. So, Craig? All right, we have to excuse Craig. We actually mistakenly told him it was tomorrow night, so he's here, and that's why we're a little bit late.
No problem. Thanks, Gino. And thank you, the board, for having us involved in this process. We're really excited with where this has gone and the opportunity to be able to present this tonight. So we've been working with the committee, and what we've come up with is building Hampstead's future. That's really what a school is. It's the center of a town, of an area. And so we want this to address all of Hampstead, all of this area. Building Hampstead's future is what we're going to be looking at. It's nice to understand how we got here. There have been, as you can see, prior studies that have been done over the last, 7 years that have led to a lot of the conclusions we came to. But we were engaged to take a fresh look at it. We looked at the facilities assessment. We did physical walkthroughs. We had our engineers come through and really saw what was deficient and what was good about the school. And I'm happy to say that this is one of the schools that is very well maintained. It's a testament to how well your staff is doing currently, your maintenance. But what we found is there are code deficiencies and other things that you can't foresee. There's population growth. There's programmatic growth within the school. So those are some of the things we look at. Another thing we did is we had a community outreach where we asked the community, what do you think? So in September, they came together and gave us a lot of really good feedback. We've had numerous meetings with our steering committee, and eventually out of that we came up with a conceptual design that Mr. Baroni was speaking about. So this is really a process that I'm going to walk you through of what we went through to find any programmatic items, deficiencies, code violations, safety and security. We'll start here with safety and security because that's really a really important one. First of all, there is no human-controlled access at the front entry. There are cameras. It's a little hard to see on the screen here, but there is a camera that shows what happens at the front door, but there isn't anybody physically there to be able to let people in, keep people from coming in, or to see where kids are passing through, maybe from the gymnasium as they access the school. Another piece under safety and security is the access to the portable classrooms. That's come up in the past. The portable classrooms are out on the site, and it's hard to control what happens between those. And obviously there's some other code deficiencies too, which is such as no bathrooms. There are no bathrooms out there. So the kids are having to come back and forth when they can't be necessarily escorted by a teacher. Again, there are no restrooms in these remote locations, and also fire sprinklers in terms of safety and security are not installed throughout the school, which is commonplace for today, and anything new that's built, it's required to have sprinklers. There are other ways around it, but in our estimation, as we walked through this, we found that it would actually be cheaper to install sprinklers than to create fire barriers. Next thing was code violations. There aren't a lot of code violations, but in previous campaigns, there are ramps that aren't meeting code, like the ramps at the front entry are a 6-inch sphere can pass through those, and it can only be a 4-inch sphere. Those are easy things to correct. There are other stairwells, and particularly in the 60s wing, there's a stair that's very narrow. It's not easy to use, but it's worked for a number of years. It happens to be a code violation because it restricts the travel. If a fireman was to try and come up those or carrying somebody, it's not a means of egress that is acceptable. Another code violation, this just gets to restrooms. There has to be a certain number of restrooms per student or per staff member, and it's a little bit lagging. There aren't any restrooms on the upper level, and there are not enough drinking fountains. These are not huge violations, but we want to be thorough when we go through this. There are some structural repairs that need to be done in the library. They've been monitored. The school is safe. They're not going anywhere. We had our engineer look at that as well. We found some other cracks that may not have been present in the past, but it's certainly something that would be taken care of in anything moving forward. Also, the classroom doors and hallways should have a different fire rating. If the building was sprinklered, they don't need that fire rating, but in their present state, they are supposed to be fire rated walls as you pass down the hallways, and fire rated doors with closers on them. In terms of building efficiency, the big thing that pops out is the uninsulated masonry walls on the 60s wing. The windows that are present in there that are sorely deficient in terms of new standards. The heating and ventilation is in poor condition, and just the ventilation from the side of the building, if you can see in the picture on the right there, it's pulling the fumes from where the cars are parking outside, so all the fumes from the cars standing, waiting for students, is being sucked into the building. That's not what we want to have happen. Other things in building efficiency, there's ways to save money. There are circulating pumps. There's other ventilators that can be replaced. There are locations that ventilation is passing through a window to vent a bathroom. These are things that have worked fine, but they should be corrected. The portable classrooms, they are actually kind of expensive to run, and we've had our engineers look at costs and where they think that would go. You don't know till you completely unplug them, but per square foot, it's expensive to have 3 portable classrooms that are not part of a centralized heating system. And I put this under building efficiency, that the hallways are fairly narrow, the circulation is not optimum. So those are some of the building efficiency components. In terms of program, looking forward, so these are now forward-thinking ideas. We're looking at what the school could use in the future. Obviously, the first thing is we want to meet the New Hampshire educational standards, and those specify how many kids can be in a classroom, how many students, how many square feet per student there is, whether it's in a classroom or it's in cafeterias or libraries. So we want to meet those standards and, if possible, exceed, but certainly meet those standards. One of the early on changes to looking to the future is that there are a number of ideas that have come forth and more information in terms of how many, the growth in the area. So we got some of the growth projections. Currently there are 470 students in Hampstead Central. By the fall of 18, it's anticipated to rise to 489 students, and it should be into the 500s in 2021. Currently there are 4 dedicated classrooms for 1st through 4th grade. Some of those grades have 5 classes per grade. The program item that we looked at is having 5 dedicated classrooms for 1st through 4th. There would be 4 classrooms for kindergarten, 2 for preschool, but the increase then comes with having more classrooms for 1st through 4th. Other things we looked at with the program is to organize the administration at the front of the building. Again, this gets back to our safety concerns. We want to have them be the first line of defense, the first face you see as you enter the school. Also, there's an opportunity for a district-wide solution, which is to continue to have district special ed, a special education office within Hampstead Central School, as well as bring in the district IT from the middle school and district maintenance from the middle school. They're currently housed in portable classrooms that, again, are expensive and it'd be nice to be able to bring them into a centralized location. So out of that, we said we can eliminate 5 of the portable classrooms. They're pointed out on our little map. And we can, in removing those, we consolidate the district offices and also bring the band and choir into the school, which currently they're housed outside. The library is something that's desired to be used by both the public and the school. We want to make that a nice space and be able to centralize it. We want to allow full use of the gymnasium. Currently, they're not able to have enough classes in the gym for 2 classes per class in a grade throughout the week, so they're kind of shortchanging the kids' exercise regimen. And if we can free up the gym by having another cafeteria space, then that just helps the physical education end. Again, the cafeteria can be used not just for the school, but it can be used for the community. There are, especially through our outreach, we found that there was a large desire to have a community space that could be used for numerous events, maybe even plays, that type of thing. So that went into the program. We want to reorganize the classrooms to make sure they're all consolidated. They're all in all the grades can be together. Special education can be together. Academic support can be in an area, and the administration is in a location that they can function very well at the front. So we have, as we started to look at this, we have 3 classrooms in what we call the 40s wing. It's the old part of the school. 3 of those classrooms are well below the state standard of 900 square feet per student. They're right around 600, so they're really small. Those, though, we don't have to tear the building down. We can repurpose them, and that works for some other great uses. So we're not thinking in terms of, well, we want to go build a brand new school, we need to build a lot of square footage. We're also thinking of how can we utilize these different areas in a different way and make it kind of be a win-win. We would obviously make upgrade to mechanicals and the building envelopes in that 60s wing, and then site improvements. We could do a lot more with how the drop-off area works, especially when a lot of regrading has to be done in the back of the building. So we're going to move on to conceptual design. And this is where we took all of those ideas and tried to make it real. And as was pointed out, we went through numerous schemes. Some of them were, I think they'd be great, but it's almost like building a new school. This one fit all the programmatic items and kept it as efficient as we could in terms of when we look forward to the building costs. The way we approach this is to use an old school term, the 3 R's, used in a little bit different way, which is to repair, renovate, and renew. And we would start by repairing code deficient items, those areas that have structural repairs, work into renovation, where we're being able to move some of those classrooms around within the school. And then renew would be building the new programmatic items that get us to that 25 plus, I would argue 30, even a 40-year look ahead, because we could build the space and it can be moved around in the future. So it's really a long-term goal in terms of trying to get this program pulled together. So on the site, you guys know it very well. On the site we have 3 modulars, 3 portable classrooms that we propose being removed, which frees up land in the back of the school. And We would build in essentially 3 areas, new in 3 areas. The first area would be at the main front entry. The second area would be along the whole back side of the building, and that would enclose a courtyard space. And the third area would be new classrooms that would infill. There's a courtyard-ish space in the, it's on the west side of the building, and it's a great place to consolidate classrooms so that they fit into that part of the school. That also helps with where the building envelope needs to be improved. In terms of new construction, the colored areas, this plan only shows the new construction overlaid over top of the existing, so it doesn't show the spaces that would be remodeled. So in terms of new, on the main level, we would propose having an administrative area with a new front entry, and that is down in this corner. In the back of the building, a cafeteria, a music room, a library, and bathroom. So we would need to add restrooms to meet codes. We're already a little deficient, but with building this new, they would be able to be built into the new part of the building. And then on the upper level, we would build 2 classrooms, which would be placed over top of the library. So what has been improved in this is that there's a new controlled entry. The portable classrooms have now been replaced with other educational spaces. We improve access to the playground, and we now have a courtyard space that can be utilized for other instructional needs, and potentially for the community. The community actually spoke a lot about having more of an amphitheater space where they could hold summer events, and it would certainly be appropriate. The programmatic criteria met with just the new is additional classrooms, again, the cafeteria, library, and band. Those would be all open to the public. The public could have an entry in the back after hours so that they could access that. They would be partitioned off or blocked from being able to enter the rest of the school, so it kind of functions like a community center. There, obviously everything would be to the highest standards of new energy efficient design. Circulation around the school. I'll show you that in a next slide here as we get to that. And then obviously the site improvements. This plan shows the remodeled areas and how we would be taking care of some of the code deficient locations. So if you can see the red line, that red line is where the building envelope of the 60s wing needs to be brought up to code, or just brought up to comfort level, which also helps a lot in terms of your operating costs per year. The building envelope means that you would be, we see it as insulating to the outside of the existing system. It's a masonry wall that on the interior can remain in place. We don't have to do any costly repairs to the inside of the building. We would do a new skin on the outside with windows, a roof, and being able to seal that part of the building so that it is very energy efficient, and it'll look nice too. Say safety is going to be improved. Safety would be improved by fire sprinklering everything. The entire building would be fire sprinklered, because if we're bringing in a new construction, the sprinklers have to be installed in the new construction at least, and it's very cost-effective to bring it into the rest of the school. And as I spoke about before, it's actually quite costly to build fire barriers so that in the event a fire was in one side or the other, that it didn't spread to the new or the existing part of the building. So it makes a lot of sense to install it throughout the entire school. Some of the code violations we would be taking care of is there's the settling in what's currently the library. It's on the second level is where we see it, but it also translates to the outside, it translates down to the lower level, and we can move the library from its existing space to the new wing, and it's a great move because those were built at classroom size, and they can be just divided and utilized again. So there's not a lot of cost in terms of putting classrooms into spaces that are already right-sized. Programmatic items, we acquired all of the classrooms that we needed. So again, we were having to add approximately, let's see, what was it, 3. We have 3 more classrooms that we need to get into the new building. By moving things around, we're able to put all of the programmatic items into the plan. Classrooms now can be clustered. Currently there are, I think it's the second grade is on 2 different levels of the school, and it would be very convenient to have all of them clustered together. So this plan takes care of that as well. When I put all of this together, I wanted to be able to show you, to say, okay, this is really what the program is requiring. And this pie chart here shows that most of the effort is going toward learning environments. This is a school. We want to be able to demonstrate that that's really where the effort is. It's into the classrooms, it's into libraries, it's into the things that make a school a school. So 45% is learning environment. We have to make the code repairs and do the remodels, that's 21%. Site and other infrastructure that would occur around the outside of the building is approximately 14%. District-wide solutions by bringing the district into the school and creating a space for them is 8% of the budget. I shouldn't say the budget, this is the effort, the work going into it. And safety and security, which our group identified as something that's very important, is 12% of the budget, which is the red pie shape. Circulation, this is a blow-up of the main level. And circulation, you can see that there's the main entry now has 1 control point. Then there's a circular access all the way around the school so that students and teachers can take their kids multiple directions so they don't interrupt other classes or other classroom activities. They can get to the cafeteria, they can get to the library, they can get down to the gymnasium. So we wanted to think of this as having good circulation to get around the building. Also, there's the courtyard, which, as many of you know, is a sloped area, so we see that as being a terraced courtyard. There's also improved access to the playground to the back, and drop off and pick up would be in the same location. So it's this also leads to that. There are a couple ways to get to that location. Again, on the main level, we have this cafeteria space that can be used by the public, and it's laid out so that a portion of the cafeteria can convert into a stage, so that presentations can be made there, so that plays could occur there. It's large enough to accommodate pretty good events. We can seat 220 students at a time in the new cafeteria. The existing kitchen is able to stay in the same location. We have to do very little in terms of changing that around. There's equipment that could be replaced, but it doesn't have to be. Currently, they serve to the gymnasium, the cafeteria. Now they just reverse it, and they are able to serve to the other side. We've added the new restrooms that work for all of the public functions in this one isolated area, but it also functions for the whole rest of the school. And then the library can be utilized as other learning environments, other classrooms, other breakout space. This is the front entrance. We have the new administrative addition that has a lot of great sight lines. They can see the buses that come up to the front of the school. They have a window that looks into the new main entry. They can see to the back hallway, to the hallway behind them that passes into the gymnasium, so they can monitor all activities at the front of the school. And it also gives an access point. We would move the district special education office. They're currently on the second level in a kind of an inconvenient place for the public to get to or parents to come. Works probably okay for the students that are in the school, but it's a district office, and they might not actually be in that school. So this puts them in the old administrative area. So it's an easy conversion. They can move into those spaces, and it's already set up as an office setup. And they have pretty good access because they're at the front entry. They can check in and go straight up to the district special ed without having to pass through the school. On the far end of the school, 60s wing, we're making those envelope improvements. We're infilling for the classrooms. We're doing some repairs where the structure has settled. And then we would bring the district technology and district maintenance into an office in the back. They have their own outside entrance if that's desired to come and go. They probably would go through the school more often than not, but there's also currently an outside entrance there. On the upper level, again, we've got the infill classroom. We have, for special education, they can move into where the old district special ed was because it breaks it into small classrooms so they can do all of their listening skills and one-on-one instruction. And the upper level of the 40s wing that does not work well for a classroom actually works very well for the special education needs. And one of those would be converted into a computer lab as well. So to just recap on what we see as the important components to this plan, the merits of the new building is that it is safe and secure, has a safe and secure entry. It now has an added cafeteria, library, music room for the school and for the public to use. It has clustered classrooms and improved circulation. The new design is energy efficient and it maximizes operating costs savings. It's obviously code compliant. That's number one important for us, and fully sprinklered. The site access is improved in the back of the school. District offices now are consolidated into the school, and it meets all the New Hampshire educational standards. So I will leave you with that. If there are any questions, I'm willing to answer.
You stay there, don't have to move. Again, we want to just summarize the driving factors of this design after much discussion, some of it very lively and spirited. that we're really looking at a safety and security upgrade, removing the modulars. That in itself is safety and security, but also bringing those students into the mainstream, which is very, very important to have them part of the day-to-day activities. Program is really driving this. I want to make sure no one thinks we're doing this because there's huge increases in enrollment. There is a slight increase, but the program is the really reason we're doing this. It's for the current and future teaching and community spaces that are so needed in this facility. We have better adjacencies, more efficiencies, teacher groups, and the whole way it's structured now is really a more efficient way of delivering education. This is a 25, and as Craig said, probably a 40-year, knowing how schools are, probably 50 years. Because you won't be coming back here again to do this again, unless there's some tremendous reason to do so. So I think when we look at this, we feel very satisfied, and I think the committee does, that this is a very cost-effective, very well-thought-out program. And when I say cost-effective, what is the cost? So without further ado, we're programming this and estimating this to be a total project budget. That includes hard costs, which is all the construction. We're talking about furniture, fixtures, and equipment, soft costs, which are architects, consultants, and also we have to be remiss, an owner's contingency, because things happen within a construction project. And we don't want to go back to the district, to the taxpayers, and say, hey, we need more money. So as owners project managers, we have plenty of these under our belts, where we have a formula where we come up with, okay, what is this whole process costing, and what should be an owner's contingency. We have come up for this total project budget to be $7.4 million. So 7.4, which we feel is very, very cost effective for what you're getting for all the reasons we mentioned below. And we can answer any questions. I know that was the last thing we wanted to mention because people want to hear what that is.